Hey friends, it is Sue Rogers here. Sue Rogers, unedited. HPV vaccine. Ooh, I'm going there today. Here's why. If you live in the state of California, basically you're fucked. Yeah, I said it. And if you haven't lived in California or don't live in California, it's a real fucking shit show around here and has been for a solid 3 years and longer. But for this specific podcast, we're going to talk about the HPV vaccine. I go back to when I first started having kids, the HPV vaccine came out. And I was like, great, I'm going to get this for my kids so they don't have to worry about getting HPV. Well, they're teenagers now. They don't have that fucking vaccine. Because guess what? I don't know if I've talked about this yet. HPV, human papillomavirus. I actually just made a joke to my daughter the other day. I said, hey, when everyone has it, it's like no one has it. You guys have heard that before, right? There's actually a funny meme. I did not invent that saying. It was a meme that I saw years ago about Vegas and how if everyone has herpes, it's like no one has herpes. And I thought that was one of the funniest freaking things I had heard at that point. And so it popped in my head the other day when I was talking to my daughter about HPV. Because I talk about real topics with my children. I am not expecting schools or the government or the TV to tell my kids what they really need to know, and you shouldn't either. But so let's rewind. When that HPV vaccine first came out, I was like, cool, I'll get it for my kids. They don't have to worry about getting HPV because I swear everyone I knew when we were all in college, we all had HPV, freaking everybody. But I have some other theories as to what that really is that's causing abnormal pap smears. I have other theories, and toxic tampons are one of them. After that vaccine came out, and my kids were still babies, so they were nowhere near the age for getting that one, even though I got them all of the other ones. And if I could go back in time, we would not have gotten any of them. That one came out. My kids didn't need it. They didn't need any of them, let's be real. All of a sudden, I start hearing and reading these stories about the side effects and the terrible things that were happening to these teenagers when they would get the HPV vaccine. And that was my first aha moment where I was like, oh, well, shit, if these are the potential side effects of getting this, whereas HPV for the most part clears up on its own, then why would anyone get that injection? We all mostly know why. If you don't know why everyone gets them, please start doing some deep dives. It is not conspiracy when there are facts, especially now that everything is coming out. Like if you haven't looked into anything, videos, podcasts, books, RFK Jr., he has tons of information that's like backed up information and not just made up, woohoo, I'm making shit up information. Go read the book, The Real Anthony Fauci. It will blow your freaking mind. And he hasn't been sued for writing this book, RFK Jr., which means it's not defamation of character, which means the shit really happened. Go read it. HPV vaccine. All these teenagers are having like deathly side effects from it. So I'm like, cool, we're not getting that shit. Fast forward to right now in the state of California. They were just trying to push through a bill that was going to force students before they started high school and college students under the age of 26 to get the HPV vaccine. Now, last I checked, HPV is sexually transmitted from skin to skin contact sexually. When you go to school, to high school, you go to school, you sit in a classroom, not having sex, and then you go home. Why the fuck you need this vaccine to go to school where you're not going to a brothel, you're going to school to sit in class and then go home. What you do on your own time is your business. It is not the school's business. It's not the government's business. It's not the vaccine manufacturer's business. Go to school and be on a school campus where you're not rubbing genitals in the classroom. You're just going to class. Why would you need this? It all comes down to money. Let's be real. Everything comes down to money. The people pushing it probably have stock in the companies that are creating it. And I'm not crazy, you guys. Look into it. If you want to just say that I'm crazy instead of doing the research and finding out for yourself, that's on you. If you take the time to look into it and have your thoughts changed, it will blow your fucking mind. So guess what just happened in California? With all the crap and all of the bullshit that's going on, this bill is not going to be interpreted as stated. It has been defeated in the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, high school students and college students under the age of 26 will not be forced to get an HPV vaccine. If you're reading information from your school that says otherwise, it is false. They are not required. I believe they got the wording changed to now where it just says it is maybe suggested or recommend. They got the wording changed so it's not going to be misleading, making parents feel like you have to have it in order to go for your kids to go to public school. Also, if you can, get the fuck out of public school. I need to do another podcast on that too, because after homeschooling since fall of 2020, we did have Cole do virtual school so he could play sports for just spring semester of his senior year. And I feel confident in my daughter and what I have taught her, but she will be going back into the public school system just because she wants to play volleyball. She doesn't care. We don't care about the school system. I love my teacher friends. If any of my teacher friends are listening to this, I love you guys. And I know how hard you work and that you care about these students and that you're doing what you love. It is not you. I love you guys. Teachers, for the most part, all the ones I personally know, I love you guys. It is the system that is broken. You are not the system. You are not the ones pushing all of this other bullshit that doesn't go along with actually caring for the students and educating the students and helping the students. My teacher friends, I love you. Please don't take this the wrong way because I love you and I know that you are the good people in the system, but the system is broken. We're going back into the system. I'll do another podcast about that later, but I trust what I've taught my daughter and what she knows. But this HPV thing, had it gone through, I don't know if I would willingly be letting her go because I would be fighting that stupid vaccine because we would not be getting it. There's no fucking way. Too many unknowns, too many variables. I'm not sending my kid to school to go rub genitals. They're going to sit in a classroom and then I pick them up and they go home, or they're playing sports or whatever. Like, you guys, it makes me laugh. They're like, these kids need to have this vaccine. Why? They're not having sex at school. And if they are having sex at school, the school has failed. They should not be having sex at school during school. End of story. Okay, I think that's enough on that for today. But good news is, in California, there is a slight glimmer of hope that parents can actually have control over the choices they want for their children, for their children's health, for their children's education. Please keep fighting, parents. There's some really cool groups, Freedom's Angels. Follow them if you aren't already. They're really awesome moms out there fighting for their kids and in turn also fighting for all of our kids that are in California. Support them if you don't, because they're amazing. And if you don't live in California and some of this shit is starting to pop up in your state, know that you guys have power. You just have to get together and use that power. There is power in numbers and there's more of us that are parents than there are the bureaucrats who are making up this horse shit and forcing it onto us and our kids. We just have to stand up to them and not be afraid to do so. Boom. That is my spiel for today. If you're still listening after all of that, thank you. Because I'm going to keep diving into other weird stuff too. And I have more guests coming up. So get excited about that. Like, subscribe, follow. I'm on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, on Instagram and Facebook at Balanced Day Life, and then always www.balancedaylife.com, where you can email me and get a direct contact with me there as well. And have a freaking awesome day.